It recognizes our belief in God, our country, not just individuals, our country, our founding fathers codified this in the documents that founded this country. Our reliance, our belief in God, and our reliance upon God. Of that, there's just no debate on that. You may like it, may not like it. Declaration of Independence, we find these truths to be self-evident, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, of which are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. It goes on in the Constitution to say we are putting together this Constitution in a preamble to secure the blessings, not only for ourselves, for posterity. And that Constitution followed with a Bill of Rights that enumerated those godly rights given to man, including the very first one, which was a right to believe in God and to express that belief anytime, anywhere, including the public square.
33 million. It's proven to the money investors that people want something to feed their souls, not just their worst desires.
Absolutely.
And
yes, indeed.
This kind of sums up my entire dialogue career on the heat of the night. You ready for this? Okay, this is it. My 7 years on the heat of the night. My dialogue all summarized into this. Get right on it, Chief.
But Bubba's my name. I like my iced tea sweet and my women the same. I'm your brown-haired badge here in little old Sparta, but nobody's bigger or tougher or smarter. If you're looking to fight, best not be with me. Gonna be held tight, well now we'll just see. You never know in the heat of the night on TNT. Heat of the night on TNT. Now I don't put on any airs, but then I ain't no slob. Just a redneck boy with a blue-collar job. The ladies I date, they gonna have 'em some fun, 'cause I'm a big hunk of crime fighting son of a gun. So if you're looking to fight, come on up in the ring. You wanna be held tight, just about anything can happen in the heat of the night on TNT. Hubba, 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 heat of the night on TNT. Yeah.
To the mayor's office. And now, behind the mic at KXEX, this is the Alan Autry Show. No retreat.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
What the hell's going on out here? Everybody's grabbing out there. Nobody.
That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
So, 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
Free at last! Free at last! Thank God Almighty! We are free at last!
Call Alan now, 559-899-1550.
Hey, y'all, welcome to Alan Autry. No retreat or no retweet. Ain't getting in trouble doing that. So honored and humbled to have you with us today, rather. Larry,
Sir Lawrence of Powell, as I like to call him, the great one. Mark Levin's not the great one. Larry Powell is the great one.
Mr. Autry, it's always nice to be with you.
Great to be here. Guillermo's not with us today. We're going to be broadcasting space from the fair. The big Fresno fair. And so he's running like a Manny Rooster all over the place trying to get things. I said, you got to hire some help. Go get meathead movers over there or something. Some of these college kids to help take some of this equipment over there.
Oh, man.
But he won't do it.
I want to do it myself.
Young just has that gene that says I can do it. And as we get older, we know we can't. Maybe you can. I don't know.
Yes. Well, now that it's funny you mentioned that. Yesterday we had National Taco Day.
I love it.
National Taco Day. Tacos, everybody loves tacos. Everybody knows about tacos, right? So they get enough promo.
They do get
nationally.
Do they need their day?
Well, why? Yeah, why don't you help some of the other foods that may be
like broccoli?
Yes,
cauliflower,
fruitcake, national sauerkraut.
Yeah,
it's up the day. I'd be all for a national bologna sandwich day. It's a great day.
Long as my mom's from Missouri, so as long as it's fried.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Fried soup. We'd fry soup if we could.
Yeah, if you're in Missouri.
But back in the day, our generation, we were well aware of the beauty and the scrumptiousness of a bologna sandwich.
Or Spam.
Yes. Were you a mayonnaise or mustard guy on your bologna?
Maybe mustard. On bologna. Mustard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever go the Spam route?
I did, of course.
Spam's underrated.
Yeah, Spam is very underrated, especially when you
very
fry it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very disparaged food that is just not deserving
it is really good.
Of its disrespect.
Yeah, it's not on the same line as spinach.
Yes. Well, I tell you, a lot of people don't know this, but I'm so happy that today, Wednesday, is National Unemployed Old Actor Day.
You got your own day.
This is when we honor, this is when the nation honors all the old actors who have entertained it over the years,
but you're not unemployed. You're still working.
Well,
still acting.
I'm doing that Stallone thing.
Yeah,
hopefully that'll turn into a recurring one. But I was so honored that they're going to honor me, Joe Biden. I got an email, and they want to honor me at the Kennedy Center and give me the lifetime achievement in unemployed as an unemployed actor, and then also. It doesn't stop there. Yesterday was a very eventful day for me. The Unemployed Old Actor Hall of Fame just announced that they're going to induct me in June. That's June 2023. Do you know how old I am? Can we move up the date a little bit? I may not be around.
I'd like to be there for it.
I'd like to be there for it. But they're going to honor me, and I'll be inducted with fellow old unemployed actors Eric Estrada and John Schneider. We're going to go in as a trio. I mean, I couldn't think of two better guys. And just thank you. It. And just a very obscure, national holiday that people, it's just a national day. I'd like to push for it for a holiday. So, hey, folks, we weren't on Facebook yesterday, and I want to thank those who posted on my Facebook that they missed me. One post, I forget who it was from. Might have been from Dolores. Said she was very sad and that we weren't on Facebook. We just had a little glitch. No, I wasn't taken off by Facebook. I mean, the subject matter was pretty rough. It wouldn't have surprised me if Zuckerberg hadn't pulled the old plug. But another one said that thought that I was in Facebook jail. But no, we got that straightened out. We're supposed to be streaming, Jeremy. Are we? We're streaming live. And, the show was a pretty heavy subject on the war in Ukraine. And we're going to touch a little bit on that now today. Not exactly right now, but I want get Larry's opinion on especially this this premise that our government, in particular our Defense Department, but backed up by Biden, that says that the Russians blew up their own gas pipeline and Americans. I mean, the song. Whoa. We play a song every now and then. What kind of fool do you think I am? But anyway, you shake your head going. When you do stuff like that, federal government, you wonder why we don't trust you in anything. You say, trust us during COVID. Please trust us because we have your welfare in mind here, and we would never lie to you. You can trust us. And you do things like this, and it makes trust on things that maybe you are telling the truth. What was the boy that cried wolf?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when you lie so often, and then you tell the truth. Can you blame people, Larry, for not?
No. What was that old thing about cross your fingers, you know?
Yeah.
And then
Hope to die?
No, cross your fingers and then you can tell anything you want. You know?
Yeah.
So I think the federal government's got all their fingers crossed. You know?
Do you think they'll figure that out, why the polling on trust for them and the media is so low?
Well, I think they understand it. They don't care. You know, if you continue to do what you've always done, you know, and you continue to get the kind of results you want, who cares what anybody else thinks?
Yeah.
That's kind of where they are.
Very cynical thing. I tell you, what we need now is just an acceptable level of trust.
Wouldn't that be nice?
You know, and you see, you know, I see DeSantis and Biden working together, and they're talking about the hurricane and its effects and what's needed there in terms of relief.
Yeah.
I believe them.
Yes.
When they, right?
Yeah.
When they're working together and they have I believe that such and such dollars are needed to flow in there. But do you have to wait on a hurricane to wipe out half a state before you
can step in and work with each other? Yeah.
And then you have the media who, even with this horrific tragedy, cannot help themselves but to politicize it.
Right.
And say, look, if everybody was driving a Tesla like Larry Powell, we wouldn't have had that hurricane.
Yeah.
and that's great. Hey, cleaning up the air and all of that, absolutely. You want to try in a very common sense way, without destroying the economy, without taking food off the table of people, make the transition the best you can from non-emitting fossil fuel vehicles and such. But even when that's done, there is no evidence whatsoever that it's going to have one iota of impact on stopping a hurricane.
No. You know, hurricanes kind of have a mind of their own, and there's not a whole lot you can do short of a miraculous intervention on the part of the Lord himself to stop those kind of things or redirect them. Man can't do it. And it's the height of hypocrisy and the height of stupidity to think you can, you know.
Isn't it the height of arrogance as well? I mean,
Absolutely.
You're basically saying we can do what only God can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
We will never, ever, ever be able to completely control the weather.
No. You can control some of the effects of it in a post kind of way, but you can't do things to redirect it or, you know, that kind of stuff. You're just fooling yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I think back on all these things, though, that we were told, Larry, by the same woke left movement. They just didn't have the name woke. They were acting woke. They just gave themselves that name.
Yeah.
It was come to try to get at us, people that kind of want to say some, you know, have some evidence for what you bring forward. Because do you have some evidence for this? What cost is attached to what you're saying?
Yeah.
I mean, remember, but you think about in our day, you remember back in the late 70s, was it? Or mid 70s? When it was about global cooling.
Yes.
That everybody was going to freeze.
The ice age was coming.
The ice age was coming.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't come.
Well, every 30 to 50 years, you need a new age.
Yeah. Well, that's why there's some skeptics.
Yeah, a few.
You know, I just question this thing about climate change. Just show me some real evidence rather than doing this overall general statement, all reputable scientists agree. Well, give me a list.
Yeah.
Give me some names that I can Google, because you go, what happened from the ice age? Well, then the ozone layer started to disappear. There was a hole in the ozone. Where has that gone? There's still, remember that? The ozone layer's disappearing.
I do.
There's a big hole. Then the ozone layer started closing up with all of this emitting. And they go, well, wait a minute. It was pollution from vehicles that put a hole in the ozone. We're all going to fry.
Yeah.
People bought that, and then inexplicably,
it went away.
And then they said, well, that ozone is going to melt all the glaciers when we got more glaciers now than we ever have. And then remember, the poor little polar bears, aren't they cute? I mean, they'd rip you to shreds if you get near them, but they're really cute. And all the polar bears are dying. They're going to go. There's more polar bears now than in the history of mankind. But that's why you don't hear about the polar bears.
Well, they glow in the dark, but other than that, Al.
Then global warming. Remember global warming?
Yes.
You notice you don't hear these folks saying global warming anymore? Why? because reputable scientists have said, you know what? We really haven't gotten measurably hotter here in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
So they had to come with climate change.
Yep.
So they've been wrong or just offbeat and weird on all of these predictions
Pretty
that have scared the
correct.
Y2K, whatever.
Yeah.
And you wonder why people are just wanting some clear-cut answers before you spend $6 trillion on the Green New Deal to fix something that, number one, may not need to be fixed, and number two, you couldn't fix it if you wanted to with $9 million trillion.
Well, it's kind of, once again, that height of hypocrisy to think that the United States and the geographical area that we are in makes up what percentage of the world's land? Not very much, that we're going to control the rest of the world and what they do. China, for example, with all of their pollution, you can barely breathe in China. How in the world do you discount all of that and what they're doing? And yet we think America can change its ways and absolutely correct everything else in the world. Doesn't happen that way.
Yet, once again, you see this hypocrisy, these things that just don't add up.
Yep.
You mentioned China, and just saw an interview the other day, John Kerry and Al Gore, who were praising the China model. They were asked, because they were asked that question by the moderator. Once you get America all taken care of, you get the economy destroyed, everybody's in electric cars, and you're like a fourth-rate economy.
Yeah.
And you still have pollution in China. How are you going to hold them accountable? And Kerry, they kind of hesitated for a second, then Kerry, well, actually, China is doing quite well. And the moderator said, really? How so?
Yeah,
and this was a liberal, they're not going to get, Gore and Kerry are not going to get in front of a conservative.
No.
Therefore, this guy's on their side. But even he said, they're producing most of the solar panels for the rest of the world. You mean us? We're the suckers that buy in solar panels that are destroying the economy by digging up all these elements that are ravaging the landscape of this earth. They're not renewable, and sell them to us while they are strategically, they'll make that transfer to where they can to the vehicles and that sort. But they're doing it the right way. The model you should be looking at is really how they're doing it. Yeah. They're not doing it all at once. They don't have a new Green Deal and said, hey, we're going to destroy. No, they're shipping fossil fuel from Russia.
Yeah.
And they're going to do
It's pretty crazy. China emitted 284 billion tons of CO2 since 1850. 284 billion tons. Wow, that's just
I don't
incredible.
know what to measure that against, but it sounds like a lot.
It sounds like a lot. Yes, kind of interesting. I think if you look at China and you look at America, because we are technologically advanced countries and large land masses, we have produced pollution, but the world, the earth, has an amazing ability to absorb so much of that. And as a result, it doesn't go all over the world. It's interesting. It kind of sticks in a spot. We can do a few things to clean up a little bit here, but you also have those air currents that send stuff all over the place. So, there are no answers that are real easy answers on any level.
And Larry, how about the rainforest and the trees and the foliage around the world that needs carbon dioxide?
Yeah, they've got to have it,
Has that been thought through?
Yeah.
But, hey, do you know that, just heard this the other day, scientists say that our attention span in 2002, us as a human species, for lack of a better description, humanity's average attention span was 12 seconds in 2002. Somehow they've been able to measure from 2002 to today. Has it gone up or gone down? Well, our attention span or increased or decreased. Apparently, our attention span overall has decreased significantly to 8 seconds. Now, I'd like to try this out. I'm going to have attention. I'm going to put my attention in my mind on the midterms. And Larry, when you're ready to say go, I want you to start counting backwards. 8, 7. See if I can hold this attention on the midterms.
Okay.
I want to challenge it. I think I'm still 12 seconds. So let's start at 12.
All right.
Okay. And I'm going to keep my mind on the midterms. You ready? You tell me to go in. I'm thinking midterm right now.
Ready? Go. 12.
Midterms.
11.
It's going to be a really,
10,
really big election.
9. 8.
Gosh, the whole
7,
future of the world could
6,
be a thing.
5.
I wonder what I'm having for dinner tonight.
4.
I'm having lemon to get some pizza.
2.
You want to come over for dinner tonight? Where did I hit?
You made it about 8.
Huh? That's about 2 seconds more than a goldfish.
Well, and
you know, Laura says that goldfish get a bad rap. How do you see? This is where I say, look at science. Come on, what brilliant guy could measure the attention span of a goldfish?
Listen, goldfish have good lobbyists. That's all there is to it.
But how do you know that? You've got to ask somebody. What were you thinking? How long do you have first goldfish? Do you have a problem? And maybe that goldfish may act like they're not they'll be here eating some food, concentrating on their food, and then they suddenly go over there to shiny object. Maybe they say to themselves, I'm having a little food. I'm going to chew this and go over there and look outside my little fishbowl for a while. They're still thinking food. They go take a little walk, then they come back.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Why? How do you when they give these stats out? You got to say to yourself, all the nonsense you got to swat away. We never had those kind of studies come from when we were kids. Come forward.
No, but teachers knew that kids had about a 4-second attention span anyway.
Man.
So
you just say the worm is really scared when he sees that hook that you're about to put him on. We can measure the anxiety of the worm. Come on. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Kanye West is up to some stuff. I get a kick out of that guy. I just do. Some people think he's bipolar crazy. My son and millions of others think he's a great musician. I think there's no doubt about that if you're into that. But also, we're going to talk about Kamala Harris saying that people of color, regardless of your socioeconomic position as a person of color, doesn't matter, in a spirit of equity in Florida, whether you have a mansion and you're a person of color or you have a little condo that's destroyed, you deserve to get the relief funds first over that white person. We're going to talk about that. Is that a good thing? We'll be right back.
You fill me up and then you let me down.
What kind of food?
I like that. Oh, folks, I missed you too. It makes me sad when we're not on Facebook.
Yeah, it does.
I've gotten, makes me very, I don't know, it just fills my heart. It makes me feel good inside to know that that you look forward to this time we spend most every day from 12 to 1 here, West Coast time. And when you miss it, you kind of, feel it a little bit. When I miss it,
it's kind of how you mark your day, Helen.
Yeah.
You do your work in the morning. You got a little 1 hour break of being uplifted.
Visited with people. Listen.
It's like a fireside chat.
Yeah, get my butt chewed by Laura Fisher
and Roosevelt's fireside chats.
That's exactly right. The only thing we have to fear
is
more Biden policies and Trump's tweets.
Yep.
What would those leaders, if they could come back right now, look at what's happened here?
Well, I think everybody has clearly understands character has been lost on the national level. And that's a sad thing because character used to be the thing that defined whether or not you would get elected. Because you could have someone that had different ideas than you, but if their character was good, you could live with what they chose. Now, when you have no character and you choose bad ideas, there's no chance.
And you always, exactly. And you said, you know what? I know this person believes this, and I don't really align myself, but their character is strong. And I think they will learn as time goes on.
Sure.
They're the type of person that if they're wrong, they will adjust. You don't see that anymore. People come to office, this set of, I always said, if you really want to lead the way you're supposed to be, a true public servant,
yep,
of which they all say they want to be,
yep,
You got to have unshakable principles and flexible politics.
Absolutely.
But so often now it's unshakable politics and flexible principles.
Yeah.
I mean, your character can't be flexible.
You know, my mom's 98.
Right?
Yeah, my mom's 98 years old, and she clearly understands when someone's given her a line. You know, I mean,
she's got that antenna.
Yeah, and it's up. And
my mom had that same thing.
Yeah, in Missouri, you know, and I mean, when you look at folks that come from hardworking families who clearly understand when someone's feeding them something that's not true, they don't take it and run with it like a lot of people do now. They say, that's not true. You know, we're not going to take that. It's just a different world. Now we're willing to buy anything.
1 minute.
Common sense is just,
yeah.
And I said, trust that, folks. God, I think God gave us all a common thread of common sense.
Yep.
But we have to dig down and access it and trust it. You know, a lot of those sayings, I think, I don't know how far back the saying of if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah.
That comes from a lot of
you remember the old saying that it doesn't
30
matter
seconds?
Doesn't matter how you wrap up garbage, it still smells like garbage. You know, I don't care how you package it, it's still garbage.
You know, the new one, I don't know how far it goes back, but I just love it. Yeah. You put lipstick on a pig, but it's still pig.
Yeah, I like that one too.
Yeah, I mean, that's whoever came up with that one.
10 seconds?
And it doesn't make the pig feel that much better.
That's right.
5 seconds?
Excuse me. Oh, wow.
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Call Alan now, 559-899-1550.
And welcome back to Alan Autry No Retreat with Sir Lawrence of Powell, Larry Powell. And don't believe all of this stuff that they're trying to nickname me Alan Honorary. I wasn't honorary on yesterday's show. I was just deeply committed to what's going on over there and focused over there in Ukraine. I believe it's very, very, very dangerous what's going on there. But let's talk. Do we have that soundbite of Kamala Harris at your fingertips, Jeremy? She said something that was really in regards to the dispersal of relief funds in Florida. And I listened to it several times, trying to say, well, did she really mean this? Right. Is it taken out of context? And she was talking about the difference between equality and equity and applying it to these funds that are being released for people that need it. And I think, we're talking about common thread of common sense, Larry. I think the majority of people out there, black, white, Hispanic, it doesn't matter what your color is. Something like this happens and you have help away. It's usually, the boat's going down, women and children, because they're the most vulnerable. Get them off the ship first. That's how you prioritize. And you would think that you would prioritize the funds on those who have the least and have lost the most. Would be, I think, a good rule of thumb.
It's a pretty good rule.
Not whether you're black or white, you're going to get more, or you're going to get help, or you're going to get help given to you quicker, or we're going to fly the helicopters around and pass over people that we think don't fit that equity equity
model
thing there. I was astonished. Do we have that? Here's what she said about that, and then I want to talk about it.
Is our lowest income communities and our communities of color that are most impacted. And so we have to address this in a way that is about giving resources based on equity, understanding that we fight for equality, but we also need to fight for equity, understanding not everyone starts out at the same place.
Oh, wow. Do you hear what she's saying? She's trying, when people are struggling to just stay alive, really, in Florida, with all of the devastation, all they've lost, the food shortage, water, they need everything, just the basics to stay alive. She's saying you need to go and do this calculation of what has happened historically, racially, to someone. So if someone is black or brown and say they live in a mansion, this whole thing that all black and Hispanics are in deep poverty, so there's actually more white people living in poverty, and because they're a majority. I get that. But poverty is pervasive throughout the socio-economic landscape in terms of race. There's a disproportionately higher share in black America. I agree with that. But what she's saying here is something complete with this equity thing. She's saying that the decision should be made not based on the immediate need. You see a trailer park destroyed, and it happens to be all white. And you see a situation over here where a black neighborhood may not have been hit as hard as that trailer park. Same socio-economic situation there. And even if the poverty is more severe in that non-person of color neighborhood, for lack of a better way to describe it, try to be politically correct, the white neighborhood, the resources should go to the less hit black neighborhood. And I'm telling you, I know a lot. I don't really know how many black friends Kamala Harris has. I have a lot of them. I was raised around black people. I have black people in my family. I don't know who you're talking to. You're certainly not talking to people of faith that are black, black brothers and sisters. They would say if they're sitting there in their home, and I'm not talking about rich folks, but they're okay. They've got water, they got food, and their house is still standing. And you come and serve them first, and they would be the first ones saying, "Hey, I have a white friend over here in this neighborhood who's just lost everything. Go take care of that individual first before you come to me. I'm okay." That's what the vast majority of black folk would say. They don't buy into this equity thing. And I know that goes all the way back to the slavery thing. And when you start, you have 300-400 years of slavery, then you say, okay, you're free now. Everybody's equal. I get that that's not right. Mm-hmm. But you can take that so far that you hold back the people that you actually want to help. What's your thought about her words there? I'm just thinking, my gosh,
well,
lady.
As soon as you start basing relief from a disaster on race, you're wrong. You base it on need and hurt and all of the factors that we as humans understand about each other. And when someone is going through a tough time, you go help whoever is in need. We don't say, what skin color are you? And houses right under her prescription, a white house and a black house right next to each other. The black gets help, the white doesn't, both were wiped out. That doesn't make sense. As a human, it's who is hurting. Let's help you. You know, I mean, it's simple.
And that's basically what the head of FEMA said.
Yeah.
The head of FEMA, I forget the lady's name.
Well, they're requied by law.
Well, she said she said she was confronted with that, and she dismissed it like just swatted away as if it was the most ridiculous statement she ever heard, because it probably was.
Yep.
She said, of course we're not going to do that. And she went right with DeSantis' folks and started serving the people that needed it the most.
Yep.
She's absolutely absurd. Let me add, because she fascinates me. And I look at this individual, Kamala Harris, who here in California, she rose up the ranks. She was a prosecutor, did quite well, put a lot of people that needed to go to jail, put a lot of people that needed to go to prison, in prison. She since backtracked off of that and said she's sorry about what she did, which she shouldn't be. But she's an attractive individual. In terms of the left, she checks a lot of boxes. And here, before when she was running for senator here in California, you could talk to some Republicans and they would say, she's solid. You know, I disagree with her, but she's solid. Back in the day, she had this reputation of being a level-headed, not some far left zealot. And she ran for president. And she had that one moment with Biden about the busing, how she was one of the girls on that bus. Mm-hmm. And basically calling, we won't get into all the details, I don't need to do a big elaborate setup on it, but the bottom line, it was a racial issue, and she was hanging it on Biden that he didn't support busing or what have you. There's a lot of reasons not to support busing. You know who was against busing more than anybody in Detroit? The African-American community, and rightfully so. Instead of reforming the schools, they said, we're going to put your kid in a bus and bus them 30 miles into an all-white school to balance it. And they go, wait a minute, why don't you improve the school that's right across my street? No, can't do that.
Yeah.
Okay? So let's little history lesson on that. But she got Biden in that moment, and her poll numbers went up to the point where people saying, okay, she's got Mo on her side here. It's probably going to be the nominee because person of color, gender. Okay. And then people got to know her in following debates and interviews. And what you saw collectively was people criticizing her flip-flops, yes, but a lot of people flip-flopped. Clinton flip-flopped and charismatic. Part of, you don't want to do it a whole lot, but it's acceptable. Most people could not pinpoint and nail down why she put them off so much. She just was not likable. For some reason, you didn't believe her. This is not just conservatives.
No.
She went down to her polls numbers started going down. Boom, boom, boom. And I remember people thinking, well, wait till the next interview, wait till the next debate. Kamala is going to, the Kamala we want her to be, is going to show up. And it kept getting worse and worse. And people got, well, I think 3%. She was lower than Cory Booker.
Yeah, she was way down there.
What do you think, Larry, and today as vice president, and I'll cap it with this, when you lose Bill Maher, and Bill Maher is telling you, look, Biden's doing okay, but you need to get rid, the Democrats get rid of Kamala Harris because she's a drag on the ticket, doesn't end there. On his show, this last one, you can go Google it, on the panel was none other than Van Jones. Now, Van Jones is a left-wing Democratic zealot. He does have some common sense that comes through every now and then. But Van Jones has been the first one to come out and back up Kamala Harris when she ran, backed her up for many of her gaffes and her word salads. He didn't offer one word
of defense.
So everybody's seeing this. What's with her? Why is she so puts people off so much? They can't warm up to her.
You know when someone is genuine and you know when they're not. And I think the American public had a perception of her being genuine until they heard her speak and saw all of the different positions that she took based on which way the wind was blowing. Now, the interesting thing to me is I go back to one California politician who probably said it best. He said to Kamala, and that's Willie Brown, don't run.
Willie told her that?
Willie told her, don't run.
Willie had a lot of wisdom.
He did.
He gave me a lot of good advice when I ran for me. He spent like 2 hours with me.
And as a politician, he's smart as can be. I mean, he knows his stuff. But he told her, don't run. And you know why? Yeah, exactly. I think he knew that there was this shallowness about her, that the inner core was not strong. She didn't stick with her principles. She would flop on principles. The principle became whatever was acceptable and got the most votes instead of a core of who you are and what you believe. And I think he knew that. And we've seen it now.
Let me ask you this, Larry. Folks, pay attention to this if you can, really. I mean, you don't have to pay attention to me. Pay attention to this guy. Because I want him around for the next 10, 15, 20 years. But I do, too. Soak up his wisdom. I want to be as wise as I can when I go to heaven. Tell St. Peter, hey, whatever good stuff is, Larry, help fill the tanks up. But wouldn't you think when you want to run for an office, especially a high office, but any office, from school board, which you just moderated a debate on. And if we have time, I'd like to get a little feedback on that. County office. I know when they come to me, so once in a while they do, inexplicably. Some candidates, potential candidates come to me for some advice. And one of the things I always ask them is, do you know, number one, do you know who you are, what your identity is?
Mm-hmm.
And do you know what you believe? And I let them talk. And many times that question throws them. They're not, they'll bring me their list, their platform of revitalizing downtown.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All this stuff.
Yep.
And they don't, what I believe is like what you said. People want to see somebody that truly believes in those basic principles that we all share.
Yep. They're common.
And you say, well, what does that mean? Now, let me just give you a few. That every neighborhood, regardless if they're in a rich neighborhood, poor neighborhood, deserves to have the highest level of public safety.
Right.
No more in a rich neighborhood, poor neighborhood. Everybody deserves equal access, law-abiding citizens. They work hard, access to opportunity, education, and quality of life. It should be not denied to anyone.
Yep.
And you could go just those basic, you're honest, mean what you say what you mean. Don't try to lie out of a situation. Have character, integrity, and ethics. Those old things that go all the way back to the Greek philosophers when they first brought them onto the scene. And she seems not. Isn't that critical to a person where you would say, hey, if you don't know who you are and what you believe, and if you don't believe that your beliefs are beneficial to the people you're representing, then don't run.
Yeah, you shouldn't be out there. Paul Little wrote a book about Christianity, Know Why You Believe and Know What You Believe. 2 really important books, I think, in the life of a Christian. If you don't have a core that is centered, then you're going to be blown, as the book of James says in the Bible, like the wave of the wind being blown to and fro, back and forth. And this is what happens to her. She doesn't think before she speaks. She tries to get an answer that is going to affirm the woke left side of things, and not even, and I'll tell you what, Alan, I think there are times she says things she doesn't believe, and that comes across.
I think you're right. And the reason I'm doing this analysis, folks, dadgummit, she's the vice president.
Heartbeat away.
A heartbeat away. And this is serious stuff. I'm not talking about, well, if Biden doesn't run, in 2024, is the party going to get behind her? I don't know that, but I know right now she's our vice president. And I know right now we have inflation that is totally out of control, an open border that is flooding people in here that we can't afford. We have crime out of control in all of our cities and in our rural communities. We got a war raging in Ukraine that could easily start a world nuclear war. And this individual is, as Larry said, one heartbeat away. This is an issue.
Yep.
And I'm heartened to see that the Democrats, and of all people, it looks like the comedians, David Chappelle, Bill Maher, are leading the way culturally. Yep. Kanye West, of all people. Did you see what Kanye West did? I mean, I think he just loves stirring stuff. Yeah, he may be bipolar, this and that, but he and his girlfriend went out wearing T-shirts that said "White Lives Matter." Did you see that? Yeah, he knew what was going to happen.
Yeah, of course.
And he also tweeted on his Instagram that BLM was a sham, a fraud, and he always said that is, and he says it's over. And you look at those people that gave them $90 million, they're fighting amongst themselves. They haven't built one rec center. They haven't built one bit of infrastructure. The leaders, which, BLM was born out of a Marxist organization. Yeah. Don't believe in the family unit, this and that. You have the leader who started that buying 3 homes with that money.
Ridiculous.
And Kanye West pointed that out.
Yeah.
And anyway, let's stay with this.
You can get in trouble for being truthful.
Yeah. Well, you got guys like de Blasio putting BLM out. And I caution my son even on this because he's really behind the plight of the African. I'm proud of him for that. Civil rights, Martin Luther King. But I said, folks, be careful before you give money to a political organization.
Right.
This is a political organization.
Oh, it is, very much.
Bill, and it's Marxist. Look on their website.
Yep.
This is going to come back and bite you. Don't go all in on this. Give it some time.
Yep.
And it's imploding. But with Kamala, as you said, it just seems like she's just trying to please everybody, which comes my next question. What do you think's going on with her inability to even articulate in a cogent manner her liberal woke beliefs at the moment that she may have? It seems like from the moment she's in her brain to like it coming out of her mouth, she can't articulate the point she's trying to make, and they have this quote unquote word salad that.
Let me give you what I think's happening. She has a word filter that it has to go through, and you might call it a woke filter. And when you're trying to filter what you're going to say, nothing flows. And so that inability...
And what you may not believe.
Yeah, no. And so that inability to sound articulate, to sound that in a way that people will trust you, believe you, confirm what you're saying, and endorse what you're saying happens. Here's what I think about Kamala. She runs policy by Zoom, not by presence, not by knowledge, not by being there. She runs it by Zoom. And so she doesn't, if you and I are in the same room together and I'm taking a position, I'm going to see how you respond. If you're on Zoom, I'm not caring as much. And that's exactly what's happening, is that she has a filter both internally and externally so that she doesn't have to really take responsibility for what she says. And that's happening time and time again.
There's just some,
and they're letting her off.
Yeah. Well, it's starting when you got Maher, coming, and usually a vice president polls sometimes higher than the president.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're not seeing that. And you'd always want a vice president that's picks up some slack that the president has, that a weak point that this vice president picks. You had John Kennedy. He needed Texas, and he had this old-time orator who could talk, my fellow Americans, and Neil B.J. picked him, okay? You can go down the line of these strategic picks all the way up to Trump. Trump, with all of his tweets, needed a measured, common sense guy.
Someone who understood Washington.
But
even if he called it the swamp.
Right, exactly. But could
have to work with it.
Yes, and could articulate the conservative message, who had friends across the aisle, and Mike Pence checked all of those boxes.
He did.
What box other than color and gender did Kamala check? Didn't the Democratic strategists see the campaign? Your own party rejected her. She's not likable. She can't communicate. Yet you put her in vice president, which you and I, when we were talking about this, there were several African-American. He said, I'm going to pick an African-American woman.
Great choices were out there.
We're out there.
Yeah.
I mean, here in even California, Karen Bass. I know Karen Bass. Karen Bass would have been what they were really looking for and needed.
Mm-hmm.
Checks that box, and she would have been great.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I agree with Karen on everything.
No, but she's sharp.
I could work with Karen on things.
Yeah.
And this is not a plug for her. That's one of the first ones that come to mind. There was a ton of them. Yet they went with Kamala, which left me thinking, did they just want somebody that's even less impressive than Joe, that they don't show up, Joe?
Yeah.
What kind of political calculus
I have
had them pick her?
Another little thought on that, and that is that she comes from California. And to show how silly it was to pick someone from California, they were going to get California anyway. So it just shows how silly it is. Plus,
and there's not any bias in the other states towards California.
No. And Jill,
New York just loves California. New York liberals love California liberals.
Exactly. Don't they? And Jill Biden didn't like Kamala. I mean, you think about this.
Was Kamala have something on him? Did he sniff her hair a little too long, or what?
Yeah, who knows? But I'll tell you what. if your wife doesn't like someone else and you're picking them for your vice president, what in the world is going on?
That's no se puede. No.
Wow.
No,
wow.
you. How do you say no? You don't in Spanish. Yes, we can. Oh my God, was she against that? Is that what you hear through the grapevine?
Yeah. No, she did not want her. She does not like her to begin with. But you know what's interesting?
God, it just makes. I feel like one of those cartoon characters with this world. I mean, I just want to figure it out.
I'm going to give Jill Biden some credit because she sees what everybody else in America sees about Kamala Harris.
Well, but the problem is she probably wanted AOC. She probably wanted AOC.
Could have been,
But
hey,
my goodness, I mean, this latest statement on the floods, it's like you're heading into midterms, and the Democrats got to be going. The guy Ryan down in Ohio's in there with Vance, a dead heat with Vance, and what Fetterman, the guys in there up against Oz. They got to be going, oh, no. What did she say? Oh, yeah, by the way, Mr. Fetterman, we have this email. She'd like to come down and visit you and campaign for you.
Yeah, right.
Hey, tell her.
I'm going to be out of the office.
Tell her I'm on the last train to Clarksville. And she can't. I mean, it's astonishing.
It is.
It's just astonishing at the incompetence. And I feel bad because you feel like you're piling on. But you know what? I feel worse for our country. I feel worse for the world. I can't let me feeling bad about, because she's probably a nice person.
Yeah.
She's probably a nice person, but she just simply cannot articulate idea. She doesn't know who she is. She doesn't know what she believes. And as you said, one heartbeat away from the presidency. And I tell you, these midterms are very, very important. Tomorrow on the show, we're going to talk about it.
Yep.
As I said many times, I'm an independent. But there comes a time where you have to make a change. Okay? You may not like it. You may love pizza. Folks on the left, I'm going to use it makes sense to me, a little allegory, if you will, or whatever. But you may love pizza. Pizza's great. Pepperoni pizza, chicken pizza, barbecue chicken. Yeah, love that pizza. And you go see the doctor. Doctor says, you gained about 40 pounds. At this rate, you're probably going to die within 5 years. What do? You got to eat something different. Well, what? You got to eat vegetables. I hate vegetables. They give me gas. You got to eat them. What is it? Broccoli, asparagus. You go on onions, whatever. You got to eat good food. Some fish. Oh God, I hate fish. Gonna fry fish? No, you got to bake it. Well, if you want to live, it's an existential threat to keep eating the way you are. Get your weight down, okay, even though you hate the food you're putting in, all that broccoli. Then get down to a certain weight, and then you can go back there. Right now, I know you would hate to vote for a Republican, you those on the left. I know in Ohio, Pennsylvania, Nevada, I know it tears you up to say, I can't make myself vote for a Republican. You have to change the food because we're going to die here. We're going to get to the point where we're going to die. We have to change the diet a little bit and eat some things, to carry that metaphor a little further, that you don't like for a while. And if we were in the same situation, the roles were reversed and there was all these policies out of whack on the right doing this stuff, I don't care about political party. I care about good, sound decision-making in the most unprecedented time of crisis in this country, in the history of this country, in the world. Larry, what's your thoughts on that? I'm urging you, please, we can't stay where we are. You have to give them a shot to try to straighten this stuff out.
Well, I love what I hear, and that is this, that you've got 50 years of democratic efforts to help those who are less fortunate, and it has not worked.
They're worse off.
Yeah. How about giving the other party an opportunity,
a chance
to do something different?
Right.
Yeah.
Because if you keep doing what you're doing, taking that diet analogy a little further, you're going to die.
You are.
You're going to have as a country, and it's going to be a slow death like diabetes. It won't be a quick heart attack.
No. But there is one good thing that happened.
Get me out of this metaphor.
Let's get on something else.
Oh,
that's
yes.
Aaron Judge.
Yes. Well, I'm
who
glad you did
happens
that.
to be from Linden, California, and went to Fresno State University.
Yes.
And is the new home run champion for the American League. And I mean,
Well, you
what
saw a little Harry Carey there. That was great, man.
I'll tell you what.
What a great guy, too.
Absolutely super guy. I mean, he's remarkable.
Man.
Remarkable.
Yeah.
And he's 6'7",
Yep.
278 pounds, and he runs like a deer.
And majestic swing.
Oh, he's
got that majestic,
Number
like
62.
the natural Robert Redford,
Yeah.
6'7".
Think about this, Alan. In 1961, Maris hits 61 homers. 61 years later, Judge hits 61 homers. And then
isn't that
a few days later, he hits number 62.
Yeah, isn't that amazing, too? And all Yankees, Babe Ruth, Roger Maris, Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
And they're also drawing distinction, which I'm glad they're doing, in the eras.
No PED.
Yes.
Performance-enhancing drugs.
Yes, even though you have over there McGuire, Sammy Sosa.
Good players.
Barry Bonds. Exactly.
Yeah.
But, hey.
This was clean.
This was clean. This was hot dogs and mashed potatoes, man.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it is, well, no, they train.
But I got to tell you something. It's worth it. Go to YouTube, put Aaron Judge, and see him interview fans in New York out just on the street. They set up a studio.
And Judge is interviewing them?
Judge is interviewing them wearing glasses and asking them who their favorite baseball player is. And they're saying so and so and so and so. And then he holds up a picture of himself and it takes off his glasses, put on a Yankee hat, and they go, whoa. he was great. I mean,
well, I tell you, couldn't have happened to a better guy.
He loves kids. He's a great guy.
And
homegrown, baby.
And he does a lot for Fresno State.
He does. He's a good guy. Good guy.
Thanks for bringing that up, Larry. Thanks for rescuing me from that stupid diet analogy. But folks, thanks for tuning in on Big Wednesday. Sir Lawrence of Powell, always a blessing to have you
Great to be
here.
with you, Alan.
And the good Lord willing, Creek don't rise. We're going to do it again tomorrow, probably from the big Fresno Fair. Until then, just remember, do your best and let God do the rest.
Amen.
When you do that, I promise you things are going to turn out the way they're supposed to. Love you.